Okay, and so from the original one-speed bike from the 1930s and 40s, people wanted to go uphill too, so they wanted to add gears. And Gary Fisher's the first person I know in Marin County here to put a derailleur, a road bike derailleur, onto one of these old bikes. And you would get the best parts from around the world, like the aluminum wide-range cranks from TA and the Brooks saddles from England. And all these good parts thrown onto these old mild steel frames built for children, you know, back in the 40s. And these bikes are very old and decrepit at this point. And the big guys would start busting their frames multiple times, and they'd come to me as a frame builder and say, "Joe, when are you gonna build me a new frame?" And I would say, "Wait a minute, are we just having fun out here? This was my day off from the serious side of cycling, road racing." And so I eventually relented, and I built 10 frames. And these 10 frames, you can see the prototype here, this Breezer #1. It's the first time you had a purpose-built frame built for what we're doing, all outfitted with brand new parts. This is essentially your first shiny new mountain bike right here. And I had won the repack race my first time out, and by golly, you can win with this bicycle. And I sold all the remaining frames that weren't spoken for at that point. And this bike here is actually Breezer #2. This is the first, essentially the first mountain bike ever sold right there. And that was I made for Charlie Kelly, who was the repack race promoter for the 24 repack races. And he had fronted me the money for the tubing, in fact, so he was first in line. This Breezer #1 is actually in our National Museum in Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian, of all crazy things. So yeah, it went on, and Tom Ritchie started building frames, and he built a frame for Gary Fisher and would build 10 more and interest Gary into selling them here in Marin County. Down where Tom was from, nobody knew really what to do with them, but up here in Marin, Fisher and his good friend Charlie Kelly found a market for them and started marketing the heck out of mountain biking, and would sell them all across the country. And yeah, they would just carry on and be actually the very first business focused 100% on mountain biking. And their business, Mountain Bikes, founded just down the street a few blocks, became the very epicenter of the bicycle industry, and it just carried on from there to the rest of the world.
Benedetto, visto che sei veronese anche tu, perché è importante parlare di questo telaio?
Beh, qui alla Hall of Fame americana ci sono due italiani, che sono due italiane, due donne, Paola Pezzo e Giovanna Benazzi, e adesso Joe Breeze will tell us more about some of the frames that we have in the bikes back here, all the way to Giovanna's famous frame.
So fast forward to a very important place in time in mountain biking, and this chronologically would be about 1989 right here. And this is right when the UCI, the world governing or sanctioning body for all things bike racing, wanted to bring our mountain bike sport into the fold, to have a unified world championship, okay, with the famous white jersey with the rainbow stripes. And you can imagine how chuffed we were that our little baby was now grown up to be an international sport, okay? Okay, so fast forward now from the early days to this point right here, which would be chronologically about 1989, okay? And this is a very important point where the UCI, the world sanctioning body for all things bike racing, wanted to bring our NORBA, our National Off-Road Bike Association, into the fold to have a unified world championship, you know, with the white jersey with the famous rainbow stripes. And you can imagine how chuffed we were that our little baby was now going to be an international sport. Well, not so fast, because the Italian Bicycle Federation said, wait a minute, not so fast. You guys don't even have downhill racing. And in fact, we didn't, even though it's our birth, our roots. We're at Repack, the downhill race. And the reason, okay, so in 1983, when we founded Norba, just up the street here at Charlie Kelly's house, we were also the trail advocacy group. And we were fighting for our trail access. There was already a hiker-biker conflict. And the last thing we wanted to do was promote downhill racing with its sometimes aggressive nature. So in 1989, when the Italians said, no downhill, no dice, we at Norba knew that downhilling was going to happen with or without us. So we just shrugged our shoulders, and it became that first World Championship event at Durango, Colorado in 1990, including the discipline of downhill racing. And that brought downhilling back with a vengeance, and sucked in all the motorcycle people who understood suspension all day long, because everybody knew they needed better suspension. And so you have a famous track racer, motorcycle racer for Harley Davidson, Mert Lawwell, teaming up with Gary Fisher with this famous RS1. And that is the first 4-bar link you see right there with the Mert Lawwell patent. And you have Robert Reisinger, who founded Mountain Cycle, who was a tester for Kawasaki, who knew suspension all day long and things like disc brakes, hydraulic disc brakes. And that one ruling from the UCI just infused this technology, which carries on to this day. And you have ski areas like Mammoth Mountain in our Sierra Nevada, putting on races like the Kamikaze Downhill, and people like Jimmy Deaton here on this Yeti setting the course speed record of almost 100 kilometers an hour. And you have, and then it would go worldwide, of course, and your own Giovanna Benazzi winning many championships in Italy and around the world, and becoming the winningest Italian racer. And we just inducted Giovanna this past year into the Hall of Fame. And she was so kind to give us one of her famous race bikes. You can see this frame right here that she raced on. And it's just gone on and on with more and more suspension, so everybody can love mountain biking even more.